Welcome back to the Mission 43 podcast. Today we got Alison Garrow, the Education Director for Mission 43. We're talking about professional development and education for advancing careers here in the state of Idaho for both military veterans and military spouses. Let's get after it. Welcome to the Mission 43 podcast, a podcast dedicated to discussing the struggles and triumphs of transitioning to life after the military. I'm Dan Nelson. I'm a former Army Special Forces officer who's personally experienced the challenges of transitioning to civilian life. In every episode, we'll be sharing tips, strategies, and real-life stories of veterans and their families who've chosen Idaho for their life after the military. So join us, and let's start the conversation. Alison Garrow, Program Coordinator for Dan Nelson. Thank you so much for being here, especially on your day off of all things, which you don't have many of because you're always doing education things for the military, both veterans and spouses in this state. So, here to talk about a couple things, in particular, the revamping of the education pillar of Mission 43 and all the things that you've brought to the table that are actually tangibly changing people's lives, the PMP course, the Cybersecurity course, the Entrepreneur course, SkillBridge, this whole new thing that you've brought here to Idaho in a very significant way. Which do you want to start with?
Ooh, let's talk cybersecurity.
Okay, let's do it. I obviously am in the realm of cybersecurity. I'm really good with computers. I know how to do things and turn them on and stuff. And I'm pretty sure I even have some antivirus software on my stuff. So I'm basically an expert.
Perfect, yeah.
Cool.
You're good. You're golden. You can join our course now.
You have the first cohort, which is interesting because you made this program a cohort model. Mm-hmm. So we have how many people going through right now?
11.
So 11 people going through the inaugural, the first ever cybersecurity cohort, and it's scholarship. It's a pretty significant scholarship, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about $20,000 per person, which does, it is a big number. SANS Institute is who we're going through. And if anybody is in the industry, they know that SANS is one of the highest recognized providers in the area. So we're making sure that you get quality, and with quality comes, a higher price tag. But that's okay because, we're investing in our members and we're happy to do it. And if that means that they're going to come out and make 60, 70, 80,000 plus in an entry level position and give back to Idaho's economy, then that $20,000 per person is well worth it.
Absolutely. It's not like dumb it down for people like me that have no idea what a cybersecurity certificate actually looks like. What is this course for the people that go through it successfully give them?
Yeah. So, when we think about our education programming for Mission 43, the idea is to shorten it into these, what I like to call bite-sized pieces, digestible pieces of education that aren't going to be extensive years and years and years into programming. So we're looking at maybe a reskilling option for members that are transitioning from the military that would like a career that is, maybe equal in pay to what they're used to when they transition, or for military spouses that can travel with cybersecurity, because a lot of positions in that industry are remote. Here in Idaho, our growth is 160% in the last 5 years, and it's still keeping on. Yeah. Is
that all?
And is that it? 160%. So we're actually, up there in the highest growth in the nation, because we were kind of slow to pick that up in the beginning. So now our growth has just skyrocketed. And there's at least 7,000, which doesn't sound a lot, but when you think about the major hubs in Idaho alone, 7,000 positions that just can't be filled because we don't have the talent here. We only have about 3,500 cybersecurity professionals in this state. So all that to say, we need to figure out what is the best education you can get that's going to give you the skills to get career ready in the shortest amount of time, that's going to be able to get someone a job relatively quickly. So our program's designed, again, SANS Institute does our training. So they're 8-week certification blocks, and you get a GIAC certification out of each 8-week block. So your first one's a foundational. Mm-hmm. It's the GFACT certification. Your second one is kind of mid-tier, the GSEC certification. And then the third one, our participants get to really decide which area they go into in cybersecurity. So you want to be an analyst, a pen tester, you get to pick an elective. So there's 4 electives you can choose from, and it's kind of design your own pathway at the end. And then we help with job, opportunities and placement both through SANS and through Mission 43 with our partner Hire Heroes USA.
So GFAT, GSEX, what's the other one?
GFAT.
My two nicknames in college.
Yes, GFACT.
Oh, GFACT, sorry.
And
Gotcha.
then GSEC.
Got it.
And
Cool.
then the next one is an elective from a number of ones that they can find out. That's all on our website.
How long does the whole process take?
It is, if par for the course, if you go they're kind of one after another, they're stacked certifications. By the time you've got your second certification, you're marketable in the cybersecurity space. So, but from start to finish, it's about a 6-month program, and compared to 4-year university, that says a lot. And it's not just a certification for namesakes. You're getting the actual skills that you need to go do the job. So you're learning Linux, you're learning Python, you're learning networking, you're learning
I have no idea
cloud
what any
security.
of those are, but it sounds cool.
I had to do a really quick crash course, so I would never put our members through anything that I wouldn't do myself. And so I did a little bit of test dummying, and I am not a cybersecurity human, but I learned a lot. And so I did do the GFACT certification. I am struggling through GSEC. I am not the human to do cybersecurity. Nobody wants that, but that's okay because I love education programming. But yeah, it is really interesting in what you learn and things that you can not only apply in your career, but your home as well, and securing your home network. The Internet of Things, who knew, right? Everything is hackable.
Yes. Well, I don't know, but I've heard. So if I'm a service member that's getting out or a military spouse that's either husband, wife, in or out, why would I choose like this path? Why would I apply for the Mission 43 cybersecurity course versus spending my GI dollar bills on a cybersecurity 4-year degree?
Yeah. Well, I think, there's different answers to that. And I think it would be that's something that'd be great to find out from our members, but everyone has their own reasons. I think the biggest reason is because, like I said, by the time you're in your second certification, no degree required, you're employable in cybersecurity. And yes, we're saying that these are entry-level positions we're preparing you for, but entry-level positions in cybersecurity average in Idaho starting at $60K a year. And there's just unlimited growth potential. A year, 2 years down the road, you could be earning 6 digits in cybersecurity because of the fact that we just don't have enough skilled professionals. So if you are transitioning or you're a spouse and you need something quick, I'm not saying don't ever go to college, but it's really good to have these certifications. Employers really put a lot of emphasis on these certifications, sometimes even over degree paths in cybersecurity. And we learned that from, our education discovery series when we talked with Sean and Nick. And that's, what kind of made us take this deep dive into what would this look like if we can get someone from flash to bang in a super quick time frame. And then again, there's growth potential. And so if they want to go through us and earn these 3 certifications, that's their GI Bill that they're not spending. And they can save those benefits and move on into, maybe you go into the SANS bachelor's program, which is an incredible program. Maybe you go into the master's program. Maybe you go into another cybersecurity program or earn other certifications. But this will be something that gets you into employment without having to use your benefits.
That's the cool thing about what you have created, Mission 43's, what education is now for Mission 43 is, a lot of other veterans organizations that are very well intentioned, they're designed to help people through the process of spending their GI Bill on something to get to a desired place. But what we've learned, what you've learned and taught people like me, is that college is not for everybody. And that's not like, oh, you can't do it. Yeah. But what you ultimately want to do, if you want to fill an industry need to make those dollars to have a good quality life here in Idaho, doesn't always equate to traditional higher ed.
Yes. And, a lot of our military members, I don't want you to not use your GI Bill, but I want you to maximize your GI Bill. And I completely understand if college is not right for you, but I completely understand if it is right for you. And there's different pathways for everyone. But we really want to make sure that we provide these really unique opportunities that are not available anywhere else, that give our members something that they can go out and produce in our Idaho economy. That's what this is all about, making Idaho the best place for our military members and our families. And, being prior service myself, my husband in the service, I've seen the experience that we get that's relatable to these programs. So not only is it available to you, you're probably going to be pretty good at it because you've learned some of these things in the military.
Absolutely. What is the Greek life atmosphere at SANS Institute?
Greek life, if we're there is
just
none.
Kidding, got you.
there
Everyone wants a different experience.
Yeah. No sports.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no SANS football team, unfortunately. They should work on that, though.
I will be happy to lead that charge.
Cool.
Okay, so last question about cybersecurity. Is there any other veterans organization here locally in Idaho that's pushing people to SANS and investing this type of scholarship into people that you know of?
Honestly, not that I know of. You and I, we know pretty well. We chat back and forth that I'm pretty good at finding these obscure opportunities. And so I'm not saying there's nothing that exists. SANS nationally does a Vet Success Academy. That's wonderful. They have other academies, women in cybersecurity. There's a few states that do it. Maryland and Virginia have a state initiative. But in Idaho, there's really limited opportunities.
I mean, it's competitive, too. It's not just like you or me looking at applications, certainly.
No,
you have to go through an aptitude test.
Yes.
That's run by SANS to tell you, like, hey, you're qualified at all?
Yes. Yeah, so you go through our initial intake process, which is really an application to find out more about you and what your goals are, because we're here to support you as the member and your family. So that's important to us. But there's things that we can't control. So we do have an application review committee. If you make it past that, the application process, again, is competitive. You fill out an incredible application, you make it past the review committee. You do have to take an aptitude test, and it just kind of is what it is. We have expectations. SANS has expectations because we want to make sure that this isn't overwhelming. This isn't taking up every single moment of your day, and it's something that you can do while you're working, and then you can transition.
So it's like a part-time job type of thing if you're willing to make that commitment for six months. So, I mean, it's not a small commitment, but it's doable to work and get these certificates.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
You had the whole team here at Mission 43, almost everybody, minus one particular person, take some of these aptitude tests just to see what it was before you release this out to the wild, to our members.
Yes.
Who had the highest score?
Oh, I believe it was our very infamous Brad Blair.
Oh, Brad Blair.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, his mind basically works like a computer, so that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, so we talked about cybersecurity. Let's talk about SkillBridge.
Okay.
Like, we've mentioned it, I think, in a podcast previous, but that was a long time ago, and a lot has developed because of you making JCAF, particularly the J. and Catherine Albertson Family Foundation, who owns Mission 43, we're an initiative of theirs for the veterans and military spouses in Idaho. They are now an approved SkillBridge provider. We are a SkillBridge provider, meaning that we show up on the DoD's list when you search for opportunities in Idaho. And what does that really mean for transitioning service members and spouses?
Yeah. So in Idaho, I could talk SkillBridge all day, but I'm trying to do my best here. So in Idaho, there's only 25 approved SkillBridge providers.
The whole state? The
whole state. If a member goes to the SkillBridge site and is searching for something specifically in Idaho, there are 25 that will populate. And that is a true disservice to our members. That's a true disservice to the military community that's transitioning out. And that's a disservice to spouses that can also take part in the SkillBridge program. And, that really hurts me to the core, honestly. And it's half and half. Half is a lot of employers and organizations don't understand what SkillBridge is, or they don't even know about it.
What is it?
So SkillBridge is a DoD-sponsored program that will allow a transitioning military member or now military spouse that within the last 6 months of their military transition can take an internship or an apprenticeship opportunity. And they are fully paid by DoD. Their military pay, everything is the same. They can do that in what state they're transitioning to. They can do that in the state that they're in. They can do it remotely, but it's a way to get members experience that they need to successfully transition into either civilian federal employment after the military. And the other half, speaking of DoD, the other half is DoD. There is just this insane roadblock right now, and I can't speak to what's going on at DoD. Thank goodness I'm not a DoD employee, and I will own up to that one. But I don't know what the problem is. We have people that have been waiting almost a year to get on an approved list to be a provider. So a further disservice to the transitioning military members that, we owe a debt to. They are serving their country, and we owe it to them to help them have a successful transition. And if we don't have enough people, what does that look like? We don't have enough organizations. What does that look like for the members? We can only take in so many.
Right.
So, in an attempt to kind of answer this call, is building out a SkillBridge program and seeing what that would look like with the J.A. and Catherine Albertson Family Foundation as our sponsor for Mission 43, and what that might look like with partner or host organizations. So the idea is to make more opportunities, honestly, for members as they transition. That's something we'll be expanding, I imagine, this year. Right now it is limited. We do take SkillBridgers, and but the goal is to provide a SkillBridge that provides the members with skills that they are going to actually use in their civilian employment. It's not to provide them with a waste of their 4 to 6 month of time. That's not what SkillBridge is about. So they need the skills, they need the training, and they need the employment prep to get out there and to network and be marketable. And I hope that that's what we can provide in our program.
Well, that's what it's supposed to be, right? It's a pathway to meaningful employment, specifically ours here in Idaho, for people that are getting out. And I don't think most people know that it's available for military spouses as well.
Right.
There's another piece of this that we've experienced it in the past year or so of being a SkillBridge provider here in the state, where we've seen people provide us applications, you approve it tentatively, but their command team refuses it. And at all levels, whether it's, a Mountain Home, Gowan Field, or Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I do think there's several layers of complication right now currently with SkillBridge. You mentioned DOD. We mentioned employers specifically in Idaho not knowing what the hell SkillBridge is and what they could be getting. And the third layer would be the actual command leadership themselves not appreciating what this actually means long term for their service members and military spouses that are transitioning out.
Well, flat out, here's the thing, and this is to all military leadership. If we are in peacetime and your unit is not actively engaged in some conflict, something going on, right? You're not deployed, you're here, you're home station. If this person is not mission critical, if you don't have their backup, whatever that is, which is another story, but if you are not approving these SkillBridges, you are a bad leader. Like, that is bad leadership practice. You care for your members, you care for the military team that you oversee, and it's your job to help them transition successfully. We think about what is our military going to look like going forward in peacetime, right? And if we do need to keep our numbers up, and if you've got people that are transitioning out right and left, what is your retention strategy? If I don't think you're going to take care of me in my life after the military as I transition, why would I stay?
I think that's a relic. I mean, that's the way it was before SkillBridge. When I transitioned, right? That wasn't on the table.
No.
But now that it is, it's funny to see the misconceptions where it's like, I can't lose him or her for the last 4 to 6 months of their time in the military. They're leaving.
Yes.
Like, SkillBridge is not available for people that are staying on active duty.
They are leaving.
They've already said they're leaving. And if you don't have a succession plan as a unit, as a command, that's your problem, not your service member's problem. And like you're saying, the bigger picture of recruiting and retention, if you treat people in a way that shows them that you don't care about them and their success in life, how is that going to reflect and reverberate through the people that are either already in your unit or the people that are considering coming to it?
And the military isn't, in my mind, an organization. And as, a now civilian, I can say that. And yes, you need to think about your military operations. You need to think about the success of your day-to-day mission. But the people that make that success happen are your people. And so, again, that camaraderie, that taking care of your people attitude, if you make sure that you take care of them, they will take care of you. That person that is transitioning out, you need to have a succession plan for them. And that is what it is. That's true for the military. That's true for civilian organizations. That's true for everyone. You have to have a succession plan. And then that member coming out has a better experience. They're better set up for life after the military. We don't want to think about these people that could possibly fall through the cracks and have a terrible transition just because they weren't given an opportunity that was created for them. It was created to be used.
I'm sure somewhere there's like command teams are listening. They're like, these two civilians are just like, you don't know how hard it is, the op tempo, the requirements, all that stuff.
Don't know.
But I think our past experience does involve that realm of things, but also there is some value in, once you get out, gaining some perspective. Like, I made lots of mistakes as a leader thinking like, this requirement must get done at all costs. That was a mistake that in retrospect, like, didn't really matter. And it took time and failures in leadership for me to learn from those And I just hope with this opportunity that leaders are open-minded and leveraging this 100% free experience, employers as well.
Yeah.
100% free experience that costs you nothing except for a signature and tangible support of your service members or military spouses that have already said, I am out. I'm leaving.
And I think, at being part of a military family, it weighs on you. That transition weighs on you. Yeah. And the last thing that you want to worry about is that my spouse service member has to work up until the day that they are done or the day that they hit that, leave mark that they can take off, and then worry about what does our future look like. And this is how we become, or we stay, or, we grow the greatest military in the world. We take care of our people. We take care of their families. And if if I know that my spouse can transition and be set up with successful employment opportunities almost the day, the week, the month after they've transitioned out, then I know my family's going to be healthier.
Yeah.
And I know that we're going to make it. And I know that I'm going to have a good impression of the military going forward, and that when we talk about it to other people, other friends, that their kids are going in, they're going to have a positive experience to share. And that's a big deal when you think generationally of who's going to come up as our next military leaders.
I think that's the short-sightedness that is kind of unfortunately prevalent in the military, just because everything is mission right now, requirement right now. Yeah. You got to solve this problem in this crisis. But if for those that can step back and see like your husband, Josh, is going to retire at 20 years, right? Mm-hmm. He's coming right up on that. Yeah. But what about the person that's been there for 6 or 8 years in his unit? And I'm not saying it's going to happen to Josh, but if he were to not be approved for SkillBridge because he's too essential for the last 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 months of his 20-year career, if I'm that person looking at that experience as a 6 or 8 year person, I know I'm probably not going to stick around.
Yeah, because that in the end, they didn't take care of this person. Why would they take care of me?
Yeah. Well, SkillBridge, I think, is something that needs to be taught, utilized. Yeah. The experience is like this quiet, rumble where some veterans organizations are picking up on it and trying to help and do the right thing. But it's going to require the DoD to get it done. It's going to require employers here to learn about the experience from organizations like Mission 43 and you. And to say, I think there's potential value in having military veterans and spouses be a part of my network for up to 6 months at a time, with the hope that they'll learn and be gainfully employed to a part of those companies.
Right. And it's my hope with our SkillBridge program that we can do that twofold. Not only are we providing right now opportunities for SkillBridgers with us on a certain capacity, but in the future, we're helping employers understand that these military members and spouses are going to bring incredible value to your organization. You're going to get an intern or apprentice that is up to 6 months worth of quality, skilled work.
For free.
You don't have to pay them. They are still belonging to the military, but they are doing a job for you, and they want to do the job, and they are hungry to learn. And then you could possibly employ them afterwards and have an incredible asset. So use this as a recruiting tool, get more military members into your culture, and I think you're going to see your company be better off for it.
Absolutely. So PMP, Project Management Professional Certification. You started this, a year ago, a year and a half ago?
Oh, I think we really started talks of it in 2020, and it didn't get initiated and kind of full force until 2021.
Yep. And now you've put how many cohorts through?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's about 4 a year. Like I said, we started in 2021. We had 4 in 2022. I think we've had about 6 or 7 cohorts.
That's awesome. And for those like me that were unfamiliar with PMP, this is another one of those niche things that you found and have now made available, totally scholarship, totally free to those that apply and get selected for Mission 43's cohort model of this PMP course. Like, the national average of getting this certification from somebody that doesn't go through our program and tests on their own is what?
It's somewhere right now around 50% according to 2022 numbers from the PMI.
So that's like a normal person like me, I'm probably like 30% chance of passing. So the people that have gone through Mission 43's PMP cert that you have designed and worked with PMI to do, what is the average pass rate?
We have a 91% first-time pass rate.
That's significant.
Yeah. And I think, it's all, you can go and you can be in, Army, Air Force, the cool programs. They have a lot of online options. We, again, like cybersecurity as a cohort, we really rely on that cohort model because we've understood that if you can learn in a group of your peers, you're going to bounce off of each other. You're going to hold each other accountable, and you're going to have someone that's there as an extra support system for you. Not only do you have us and our facilitator, you have your peers, and a lot of times that's easier. So we took this model and kind of tried to break down, why is there such a low pass rate for this exam? And how can we come in and make ours higher, honestly? And a lot of that is because of the quality of training. And not that online training is bad. I love online training. I love virtual learning. But sometimes it's just not the best delivery format for this content because you are basically relearning, as a military member, you've done a ton of projects. I'm sure you've upgraded a system. I'm sure you put, an aircraft through a scheduled maintenance thing. That's a project.
Or PCS'd your family's military spouse 5 times.
I mean, you have done a ton of projects, but you're learning to put those projects into nationally, really globally recognized language, and that's from the Project Management Institute. So a lot of that curriculum can be, just like drinking water out from a fire hydrant. It is a lot all at once. PMI requires that you have a 35-hour education requirement. So we tried out a couple different programs and found that in person is best. Mm-hmm. And so we bring people in person. It's all over Idaho. So we do the Treasure Valley, North Idaho, East Idaho. We have a facilitator that has, I think, like 35 years of experience from military project management and then instruction.
He's awesome.
He is amazing. He really understands how to translate this experience into what PMI nationally would understand. And so helping you make those connections. So we bring him in. He's a PMI authorized training partner, which I know there's all these acronyms going on right now. That's an ATP, but only the ATPs have access to content that is directly on the PMP certification exam itself. Mm-hmm. If you are not learning from an authorized training partner, you're getting material that is possibly out of date or irrelevant.
Well, that's why the national pass rate is so low. I mean, in my opinion, because I see a lot of organizations and in the veteran space as well that say, oh, yeah, we help with PMP. And what they really do is refer them over to like a free resource. It's online. For someone like me, it's not going to help. Yeah. There's no accountability. There's no mentorship. And there's no professional ATP or authorized training professional to actually teach this course and mentor them through the process until they pass that dang test.
And I think anyone that's gone through our course can speak to this, that I am relentless. And I will get you through to passing, and we will make sure that you're meeting your deadlines. We will make sure that you are ready to go. And you know what? Not everyone passes, and that's okay. And if you don't pass, we're going to help you pass the second time because it's not just one and done. It's something that if you are giving us the involvement, if you are out there and you're letting us know in constant communication, so if you're giving us a little bit, we're going to give you a lot. And this is another thing that these training courses and the exams themselves, they're very expensive, and that can be a barrier for people. And we don't want you to spend your own dollars and possibly fail because you went to a course that wasn't the best material or the best learning outcome for you. So we cover the cost of the instruction. We cover the cost of your first exam attempt, and that's, anywhere $3,500 or so scholarship. But just like the cybersecurity, it is an investment for us to make in you, to make in your family, so that you can turn around and be successful and provide for your family, and then provide for the Idaho economy. That's what we want to see.
It requires accountability. It does. You're signing the dotted line saying Allison will become a significant part of my life for the foreseeable future because you will make sure that they get through, do the right things, and stay accountable to do these programs because of that investment.
Yeah, and now, luckily, I have an education team. It's me and Amy that are going to take care of you. Really, that's what we're here for. And I know, when I say I'm relentless and answering texts, answering emails, staying in constant contact. It's not my goal to annoy anybody by any means. Maybe I feel like I am sometimes, but it's because I'm here for you and I care for you.
It's called intrusive advising.
Intrusive advising. And I want to make sure you're successful. Yeah. Employers are really recognizing these professional development pieces. And if you got on, Indeed.com right now and looked at all these different jobs in different industries, you're going to see PMP preferred, PMP required. Well, that's because project management is in almost every single industry we have all across Idaho. And what's the worst that could happen? You make yourself more marketable amongst your peers.
You
stand out. You get promoted. You get more dollars. We've seen success with that. The national average for PMP versus non-PMP is about a 23% higher salary.
That's significant.
But we are trending much higher than that.
Oh, wow.
Because all over Idaho, there is a hunger for talent. And people are willing to pay up for that.
Yeah.
And that could be the difference in making $50,000 a year or $70,000 a year or $70,000 a year and $90,000 a year. I mean, it's huge.
That's unreal. So, Alison, I just want to thank you because honestly, Mission 43 has had such growth in the past couple of years. And I'm fully convinced that it's largely in part to what you have developed in the education realm of Mission 43 and providing this tangible value. So someone can start this program and in a matter of weeks go from making $70,000 a year for their family to $100,000 a year for their family. And it's not all about money. It's not all about dollars, but it is about quality of life in Idaho after the military. And it's hard to ignore the impact that you have had through developing these programs and putting some very lucky but very hardworking and very accountable individuals through them. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for telling us about these programs, and keep it up.
Well, if there's one last thing that I can say is that we don't build these education programs for nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not making them up. I'm not pulling names out of a hat. Really, this is driven by our Idaho economy and what employers need. So we're not going to stop. It doesn't stop with cybersecurity, entrepreneurship, PMP, everything that we have right now. It doesn't stop there. But we need employers to back these incredible members that are earning these certifications and that are going through these programs. So, it's my goal to continue to create partnerships with employers that are employing project managers, that are employing cybersecurity professionals, people that have resources for entrepreneurs. And if we can, get any way for those employers to reach out to me, that would be wonderful. Again, it's all about the partnerships and the connections that we can make in the community for our members. And then if we're seeing trends in Idaho for something that is needed, that's, we can, again, make it a quick program, make it a successful program where people coming out of it with tangible skills, we can build it.
Alison Garrow, you're the best.
You're the best.
Thank you. And I urge everyone, if you're listening to this and you're curious at all about these programs, reach out to Alison, reach out to Amy Gilbert, the education team of Mission 43. Thanks, Alison.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for the Mission 43 podcast. We hope you found it informative and helpful. If you have any questions or feedback, please comment below or email podcast@mission43.org. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our podcast to stay up to date with new episodes. Be proud of your service, not defined by it. See you next time.